Welcome in Mariners hitting coach Howard Johnson. Howard, Brian Kenny here with the guys. Welcome to the show.
I'm doing good, guys. How y'all doing?
Excellent. Now, you tell us, you got a new slugger, a guy led the majors in home runs last year. Your thoughts on Nelson Cruz, what it does for your club?
Well, it's nice to have him in our lineup, that's for sure. He killed us last year when we played against Baltimore. And, I guess, it was close last year, us getting him. And when that didn't happen, he did a nice job going to Baltimore and kind of resurrecting and everything and showing people what they're missing. So we're excited to have him, and it's going to be a good year for us.
Howard, this is Dave, and I got to ask you this about Dustin Ackley. The last 2 years, first half, slow start. The last 2 years, second half, he's been outstanding. What do you have to do to get him out of the gate in the same form that he finished in the last 2 years?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, last year he had a really nice spring. Act swung the bat great. Looked like he was going to get off to a good start, but it just didn't happen. And he came on, and that's been his history. And obviously, we'd like to see him, swing a bat like that, all year. And we're working on some things. I know in spring training we'll be doing some different things, trying to get our guys ready for day one, and hopefully, have a nice even season instead of get big ups and downs. But first thing about him is he's a tremendous hitter. I mean, there's not many guys that I've seen that can do what he does with the bat. And when he's going well, he may be one of the best hitters in the game. And he's a nice compliment out there for us. And we need him to have a good year for sure next year.
Absolutely. And another guy I want to talk to you about is the catcher Mike Zunino. Certainly in the Pacific Northwest, we're well aware of his got a club record for catchers, 22 home runs. He drove in 60 RBIs, but he hit a .199.
Yep.
What are your projections for him? I mean, if he can hit 250 and add to and stay with that home run total, that's some package, and I think he'll deserve it and certainly get a lot more national attention.
Oh, there's no question about it. And Z worked really hard last year. I mean, a lot of people forget, that really he'd be just, finishing up at Florida, in college. The year before, he was in AAA with me for part of a season, and the year before that, he was in A-ball and AA. So he really doesn't have much of a history in the minor leagues, that you'd like to see with guys before they get called up. But Z's a tremendous worker. He worked hard. He learned a lot, I think, throughout the year. There's a lot of trial and error with him because, when you have a young player and they're used to just dominating wherever they play, and they get to that level where, things aren't quite as easy for them, you have to go through a lot of mental stuff as well, and that's kind of where he was going in. And then you throw on top of that, he had to catch and call games, and probably the best pitching staff in baseball. So we had to pick our fights. Where we really wanted to get into him. We didn't want to disrupt what he did defensively for us, and that kind of outweighed everything because we didn't want to mess around with him to a point where it started affecting the defensively.
Hojo, it's Ken Davidoff. Robbie Cano, hey, how are you? Robbie Cano came over from the Yankees last year. His slugging numbers went down, but he kept getting on base at the same rate he did as a Yankee. I'm wondering if you think Nelson can learn anything from Robbie in terms of that mental adjustment to playing your home games at Safeco.
Yeah, I think Cruz will be fine, and I think that Robbie, having played there for a full season will be a big plus because he can explain to him the differences in the ballpark and how things play out, and we try. It's easy to sit back and you look back at the guy's numbers and say, well, he didn't hit the 100 RBIs, didn't do all this, didn't do all that, but you had taken a lot of factors, and last year our stadium, it's a big ballpark, and it certainly had an effect. And I think just his first year there, Lloyd's first year, we're just trying to find out what we have on the field, trying to get things set. Seager was emerging. There's a lot of things that went into Robbie's numbers, but yeah, Robbie's gonna be a big plus having gone through that. And we're not saying that Cruz won't hit 40 again. Who knows? But if he doesn't, the main thing is we have to concentrate on the game at hand and not worry about the numbers. You don't get those numbers in one day or 1 week or 1 month. You get that over a course of a year. And so you can't really get too caught up in, gosh, I got to get to 30 home runs or I got to get to 100 RBIs. That's not the way you accumulate those numbers. You do it one day at a time, and that's what Robbie was so good at.
The Mariners, again, just getting started in this offseason, busy already. Howard Johnson, their hitting coach. Howard, good talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us.